This is video 4.1, and the goal of this video is to be able to perform operations with polynomials. This is going to come in handy in for the rest of this course, the intermediate algebra course. But we're going to review the basics here. So first of all, what is simplifying? You often see that word. Simplifying is when you take an expression and you combine like terms to make an expression shorter. The whole goal with simplifying is to make something simpler. That's the whole purpose of the word we use, simplify. So our goal is to make an expression shorter and to make it simpler looking. So when we see a long expression like you see in example 1 here, the goal is to condense it and make it shorter. So we're going to perform as many of the operations as we can. And we still follow order of operations, and we still want to think about what operations we have to do first. In this case, we're going to have to do the multiplying first. We have this parentheses that denote multiplying, so we're going to multiply that out. I'm going to copy everything else down, but I'm going to take the 2 and I'm going to distribute it to the x and 5. So it'll be plus 2x minus 10, because 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times 5 is 10. And then we still have our plus x squared. Now I go about doing exactly what I mentioned earlier, which is combining like terms. So when I combine like terms, I'm looking for things that are alike. I see an x squared at the front here, and I see another x squared at the end. So I can add those two together to see that there are 5x squareds. And then I do something similar with the other like terms. Let's see, I have these x's I can combine together. So remember, this minus is on the 3, so I have a minus 3x plus 2x. So that simplifies to a minus 1x. And then lastly, I'll just copy down the one term that has no like terms, the minus 10. So this is my simplified expression. Notice how much shorter it is. It's equivalent to the original expression. All I've done is condense it a little and done some of the operations that I can. So now example 2 is going to have a similar process, but this one causes some problems for students. Everything in the front, it looks like I can start to combine, but before I do that, I do want to take care of these parentheses. So I'm going to take care of the parentheses, by distributing that minus. So everything in that parentheses need to be subtracted. So let me just copy down the front stuff here. And remember that minus gets distributed to everything. So it's going to be minus a 2x, and then minus a negative 5, and then minus a y. So first of all, that minus negative 5, we can just write that as plus positive 5. That's a way to simplify subtraction. So now it's all written out, and I can simplify by combining like terms. So I see that I have 3 plus 4 plus 5. That adds up to 12. And then I see that I can combine the x's, and they're all negative, so I have a negative 1x and a negative 2x, so altogether I have a minus 3x. And then I still have that minus y that we see over here. So that's my simplified expression. I can't go any further because none of those terms are like terms. So let's take a look at the final example here. So we have these parentheses and we have a subtraction between them. So similar to the previous example in that we need to subtract each of those pieces. This parenthesis doesn't really matter. We might use parentheses like this to describe this group, take away this group. But these parentheses can just come off on the front because there's no operation in front of them over here that would alter their value. But each of these pieces is going to be subtracted here. So we're going to subtract 3a squared. We're also going to subtract 2ab. And we're going to subtract the negative 3b. So subtract a negative 3b. So once again, I'd want to make sure I don't lose any of my minuses. So both those minuses are represented here, but once again, because you're subtracting a negative, you can change that to adding the opposite. So now I'm going to look for any like terms and try to simplify in that way. So it looks like I have 5a squared and I have a minus 3a squared. If I do that operation, I get 2a squareds. And then it looks like I have a minus 4 ABs, and then I have another minus 2 AB. So altogether I'm minusing 6 AB. And then last but not least, I have my B terms. Combining those, I get a total of 5 B's. And that is your simplified expression. So this is an important skill because the next problem that we're going to do, I'm going to let you practice this. So try these 4 practice problems. Check in with your teacher if you're confused or not sure if you're doing it right. But try these 4 and then press play on the video again when you're ready to move on to the next set of problems. So you should have finished your first 4 independent practice problems. Here is the next type of problem that you're going to solve in this video, which is multiplying binomials. So this problem right here entails multiplying binomials. This is a binomial times a binomial. And binomial because there's 2 pieces, and the word bi, remember, means 2, and it's being multiplied. So we need to follow order of operations here, but there's a way we can find the product without doing the stuff in the parentheses first. So we're going to find the product, and remember the way we do that is we draw a generic rectangle. Okay? If you feel confident with this, you can try these next 2 problems on your own, and then plus restart on the video if you want to check your answers and see if these 2 examples are right. But many of us are really good at this. This is just a review for those of us that aren't. So remember, we set one of these up as our base, and one of these is our height, because the way we find the area of a rectangle is base times height. So our height is 2 and a negative 3y. And then to find the area of the total, we're going to multiply to find the area of each corner that you see here. So for the bottom left, we're going to do 2 times 8, and we get 16. So I'm just going to record the result inside the box. And then we'll do the top corner, the top left, negative 3y times 8, and I get negative 24y. So we're multiplying to find the area of each corner. The bottom right corner will be 4y times 2, or 8y. And the top right will be 4y times negative 3y. It gives me negative 12y squared. So the pieces on the inside of this rectangle here are, altogether those 4 pieces are equal to this product right here. So when a question says find the product, the goal is to multiply it out and rewrite the product as a sum. So we're going to write it as a sum of these 4 corners. So I usually start with my highest power first, so negative 12y squared. And then I notice that these 2 corners are the same type of term, so I'm going to combine like terms and add negative 24y plus 8y, and I see that gives me a total of negative 16y's. And then I'll just record my last 16, so plus 16. So this is equivalent to the original product that we saw up there, and that is the sum that represents the same value as that product above it. So the next question, we're going to do the same thing, but it's a little different because it's a little bit bigger rectangle. So let's take a look at example 2. So example 2, the same exact stuff. We're going to find the base and the height. The good news is it wouldn't matter too much if you decided to let this be your base and have the other value be your height, because it will be the same rectangle. So I'm just going to mix it up here and try it that way. So I'm going to have a base of 4 minus 2a plus b. So because there's 3 terms, I'm going to have to break my rectangle up into 3 pieces. Okay, so I have a 3 square wide, and then I'm going to have 2 minus b as my height. And now I'm going to fill in the inside of my rectangle. So I'll break this into 2 pieces, and I'll start to find the inside pieces by multiplying to find each area. So the top left will be 2 times 4, and I'll get 8. And then we'll do negative b times 4, and I'll get negative 4b. Looks like this 2a is negative, so we'll do negative b times negative 2a, and we'll get positive 2ab. Top middle corner, top middle piece is negative 2a times 2, and I'll get negative 4a. Top right, we'll do 2 times b to get 2b. And then the bottom right, negative b times b will be negative b squared. So I found the area of each corner. Now I'm going to write the area, the total area, as the sum of all these pieces. So all these pieces together, let's see. I look for like terms, and I see these two can be added together. So let's write those first. Adding them together, I get negative 2b. And then I have plus 8 plus negative 4a plus a negative b squared, and then plus 2ab. And this is your sum. It definitely doesn't look simpler than the previous, but it is the product's result after you multiplied it out. So that sum is equal to the original product that was in the problem. So your goal for the next 4 problems is to review that. Check with your teacher if you have questions or concerns, and do the problems on the back of your worksheet as well.